The massive ships appeared in Earth's sky without warning. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the orbital defense station, watching the alien vessels block out the stars. Her coffee had gone cold hours ago, but she couldn't look away from the screens. "How many ships?" she asked her aide. 47, Admiral. All of them huge. The biggest ones are the size of small cities. Sarah rubbed her tired eyes. 3 days ago, Earth had been celebrating another year of independence from the galactic hegemony. The alien government controlled most of the galaxy, but Earth had said no to joining them. Humans wanted to stay free, even if it meant being alone among the stars. Now it looked like the hegemony was making them pay for that choice. The communication screen lit up. A tall, blue-skinned alien with 4 arms appeared. Sarah recognized him from the news broadcasts. This was President Vextar of the Hegemony Council, one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. His golden eyes looked cold and angry. "Admiral Chen," Vextar said in perfect English, "I bring greetings from the Galactic Hegemony Council." "President Vextar." Sarah kept her voice steady. "This is unexpected. Your ships entered our space without permission." Vextar smiled, showing sharp white teeth. "We come bearing gifts, Admiral. The Council has decided to honor Earth with a special responsibility." Sarah didn't like that smile. What kind of responsibility? 6 million refugees need a new home. The Cathera people lost their world when their star collapsed. Very sad, very tragic. Vextar didn't sound sad at all. The Council has chosen Earth to take care of them. Sarah's heart sank. 6 million aliens. Earth had 8 billion people. But adding 6 million refugees would still be huge. Especially refugees from space, who might need special care. "With respect, President Vextar, we weren't asked about this. Don't other hegemony worlds have more resources to help?" Vextar's smile grew wider. "Oh, but Admiral, this is such an honor. Earth always talks about being independent and strong. Here's your chance to prove it. Unless, of course, you can't handle it. The Council would understand if humans need our help. We could make Earth a protected world under hegemony rule. Much easier that way." Now Sarah understood. This wasn't about helping refugees. This was a trap. Take the 6 million aliens and probably fail to care for them properly. Or refuse and look heartless to the galaxy. Either way, Earth would end up under hegemony control. "We need time to prepare," Sarah said. "Of course, you have 72 hours. Vextar's image flickered. "Oh, and Admiral? The Cathera have special needs. They breathe different air than humans. Their skin changes color with their emotions. They're also completely peaceful. They've never fought a war in their entire history. I hope that won't be a problem." The screen went dark. Sarah stared at the empty space where Vextar had been. 72 hours to prepare for 6 million refugees who needed special air to breathe. It was impossible. Her aide, Lieutenant Rodriguez, looked pale. "Admiral, what do we do?" "Get me President Martinez on the secure line. Then contact Dr. Okafor at the Xenobiology lab. And wake up everyone in the Refugee Assistance Department." Sarah turned back to the screens showing the alien ships. "We're about to find out what humans are really made of." 2 hours later, Sarah was in an emergency meeting with world leaders. President Martinez of the American Federation looked tired. Prime Minister Kim from the Asian Alliance kept shaking her head. Chancellor Oberg from Northern Europe rubbed his temples. "It's impossible," Kim said. 6 million aliens with special breathing needs? In 3 days? We can't do it. "We have to try," Martinez said. "If we refuse, we look like monsters. If we fail, people die, and we still look like monsters." "They planned this perfectly," Oberg muttered. "Trap us either way." Dr. Amara Okafor, the world's top expert on alien biology, cleared her throat. She was a small woman with gray hair and bright eyes. "I've been studying what we know about the Cathera from old hegemony databases." Everyone turned to look at her. "They're not like us. But they're not completely different either. They need more oxygen, and less nitrogen in their air. Their skin has crystals that change color based on their feelings: blue for calm, red for fear, green for happiness. They live in family groups of about 50 people. Can we help them? Sarah asked. Dr. Okafor nodded slowly. Maybe. We'd need to convert buildings to have different air systems. Set up medical centers that understand their biology. Train people to work with them. She paused. It would be the biggest refugee operation in human history. But it might work. What about their personalities? Rodriguez asked. That's true. The Kythara haven't fought a war in over 1,000 years. They solve problems by talking and sharing resources. When their star started dying, they didn't fight over who got to leave first. They built refugee ships for everyone and left their world together. Sarah looked around the table. So we have 6 million peaceful aliens who lost everything, and the hegemony wants us to fail at helping them. That's about right, Martinez said. Then let's make sure we don't fail. Sarah stood up. Dr. Okafor, I need you to go on every news channel and tell people about the Kythara. Show them who we're trying to help. President Martinez, can you start converting buildings? Already on it, Martinez said. But Sarah, this is going to be close. Very close. Through the window, they could see the alien ships waiting in the sky. Inside those ships were 6 million people who had lost their world and didn't know what would happen to them next. The hegemony thought they were giving Earth an impossible problem. Maybe they were right. But Sarah remembered something her grandmother used to say. Humans are stubborn. When someone tells us we can't do something, that just makes us want to do it more. She looked up at the alien ships and smiled. Let's show the galaxy what humans do when someone needs help. Dr. Amara Okafor had never been on television before, but she knew this might be the most important interview of her life. The reporter, Janet Chen, looked nervous as she shuffled her papers. The whole world was watching. Dr. Okafor, can you tell us about these aliens coming to Earth? Amara looked directly into the camera. They're called the Kythara. 3 days ago, they had homes, jobs, families, and a beautiful world. Then their star exploded and took everything away. Now they're floating in space with nothing but the clothes on their backs. She pulled up a picture on her tablet and showed it to the camera. It was a Kythara family from the old databases. The parents were tall and thin, with skin that looked like it had tiny crystals in it. Their skin was dark blue, which Amara knew meant they were sad. The children, smaller versions of their parents, held hands with their mothers and fathers. Look at them, Amara said softly. They're not invaders or monsters. They're refugees. They're families who just want to be safe. Janet leaned forward. But Dr. Okafor, 6 million aliens. Can Earth really handle that many? I don't know, Amara said honestly. But I know we have to try. Because that's what humans do. When someone needs help, we help. The interview went out live across the globe. Within an hour, something amazing started happening. In New York, a retired construction worker named Mike Santos called the mayor's office. I got an empty warehouse, he said. You can use it for the aliens. By evening, 1,000 people had offered their buildings. In Tokyo, a group of children used their pocket money to buy blankets and canned food. Their teacher, Mrs. Tanaka, helped them make signs in broken alien language that said, Welcome to Earth. In London, Dr. James Okafor, Amara's brother, started working day and night to build air purifiers that could give the Kythara the oxygen-rich air they needed. In Rio de Janeiro, Maria Santos, who had been a refugee herself from the old wars, organized other former refugees to help translate and guide the newcomers. But not everyone was happy. In several cities, angry crowds gathered to protest. Humans first, they chanted. Send the aliens back. Some politicians gave speeches about protecting Earth's resources for Earth's people. Admiral Sarah Chen watched the news reports from her orbital station. Some made her proud. Others made her worry. But overall, she was amazed. Most humans weren't scared or angry. They were rolling up their sleeves and getting to work. "Admiral," Lieutenant Rodriguez called out. "The first Cathara shuttle is asking permission to land." Sarah's heart pounded. This was it. The moment everything would change. Where do they want to land? Geneva, Switzerland. At the United Nations building. Sarah nodded. Of course they'd want to land at the UN. It was the closest thing Earth had to a world government. "Tell them they have permission." "And Rodriguez?" "Make sure our best people are there to meet them." Dr. Chen Yuki, Earth's best alien language expert, was already in Geneva. She had spent 2 days learning basic Cathara language from old computer files. It wasn't much, but it was something. The shuttle was beautiful. It looked like it was made of crystal and metal woven together. As it landed in the plaza outside the UN building, hundreds of people gathered to watch. Chen Yuki noticed that many of them were children holding homemade welcome signs. The shuttle door opened slowly. White mist came out first. That was the different air the Cathara breathed. Then a figure appeared in the doorway. Chen Yuki had seen pictures, but meeting a real Cathara was still a shock. The alien was tall and thin, with long arms and legs. Its skin really did look like it had tiny crystals in it, and right now those crystals were glowing red and blue. Red for fear, blue for sadness. The Cathara stepped carefully out of the shuttle. It wore simple gray clothes and carried a small bag. Behind it came more Cathara. Families with children, elderly individuals walking slowly. Young adults looking around with wide eyes. Chen Yuki stepped forward and spoke in careful Cathara language. "Welcome to Earth. We are friends. You are safe." The first Cathara stopped and stared at her. Its skin crystals flickered between red and blue, and then, slowly, started turning green. Green for happiness. It spoke back to her in its musical voice. Chen Yuki's translation device worked hard to keep up. You speak our words?" "A little," Chen Yuki said. "We want to help you." More Cathara came out of the shuttle. An elderly one with skin more crystal than flesh walked slowly to Chen Yuki. When it spoke, its voice was like wind chimes. "I am Elder Shaltes," the translation device said. "I speak for my people. We expected prison. Or slavery. This is..." The elder's skin turned bright green. "This is kindness." Around the plaza, the human crowd started clapping. The Cathara children, startled by the noise, hid behind their parents. But when they saw the human children holding welcome signs, some of them started turning green too. Elder Shaltes noticed the signs. Even though they couldn't read them perfectly, the Cathara language on them was clearly made with care. Tears started running down the elder's face. The tears looked like liquid starlight. "You made signs for us?" Shaltes asked Chen Yuki. "The children did. They wanted you to feel welcome." More shuttles were landing around the world. In every city, humans were waiting to help. But it wasn't easy. In Mumbai, engineers worked frantically to install air systems in converted hotels. In Sydney, doctors tried to learn Cathara biology from computer files. In Sao Paulo, teachers prepared classes to help alien children learn human languages. There were problems everywhere. The air systems broke down. Some humans and Cathara couldn't understand each other and got frustrated. A few Cathara got sick from Earth's different gravity. Some humans complained that the aliens were taking up too much space and resources. But every time there was a problem, more humans showed up to help fix it. Admiral Sarah Chen watched it all from her station in space. The hegemony ships were still there, waiting and watching. President Vextar sent daily messages asking if Earth was ready to give up yet. Sarah sent the same reply every time. "Earth is doing fine, thank you." She wasn't sure if that was true. 6 million refugees was a huge number. The air systems were working. Barely. Food was getting delivered. Mostly. Housing was being set up. Slowly. But as she watched the news feeds showing humans and Cathara working together to solve problems, Sarah started to think that maybe, just maybe, they could make this work. On the third day, after the first landing, Elder Shaltes gave an interview on human television. Its skin was bright green as it spoke through a translator. "We came here expecting nothing," Shaltes said. "But you gave us hope. You gave us home. In our language, we have a word, Shaldara. It means the family you choose. Earth is becoming our Shaldara. When the family formants, Shaldara," Sarah smiled as she watched the interview. "Let the hegemony see that. Let them see what humans did when someone needed help." Outside her window, the alien ships waited. But Sarah wasn't worried about them anymore. She was too busy watching something beautiful happen on the planet below. 6 months had passed since the Kythera arrived on Earth, and Marcus Torres was running late for the most important meeting of his life. The young engineer rushed through the halls of the International Science Center in Geneva, carrying blueprints under his arm. He had been working with a Kythera named Zix Ara for 3 months now, and today they were going to present their project to the World Council. If it worked, it could change everything. Marcus found Zix Ara waiting in the lab. The young Kythera was barely an adult by their standards, but already one of their best scientists. Right now, Zix Ara's skin was bright yellow with excitement. "Marcus, you're here." Zix Ara's English was much better now, though they still had a musical accent. "Are you ready to show them our work?" Marcus grinned. "Ready as I'll ever be. How about you?" Zix Ara's skin shifted to green. "I'm happy nervous." "Is that the right word?" "Perfect English," Marcus said. "Let's go change the world." The meeting room was full of important people. Admiral Sarah Chen was there, along with President Martinez and Elder Shaltes. Dr. Amara Okafor sat in the front row, and several hegemony observers watched from the back of the room. Marcus and Zix Ara stood at the front, next to a strange machine that looked like a metal tree with crystal branches. "Ladies, gentlemen, and honored Kythera," Marcus began. "6 months ago, we thought we had a problem. How do we help 6 million refugees who need different air to breathe? But we discovered something amazing," Zix Ara continued. "The Kythera don't just need different air. We can make different air." Marcus activated the machine. The crystal branches began to glow, and the air in the room suddenly smelled fresher. "Kythera biology works with plants and air in ways humans never thought of," Marcus explained. "When Zix Ara touches a plant, they can help it grow faster and cleaner. When I build machines to copy that process, we create something new," Zix Ara finished. "Air machines that don't just change the air. They make it better." Dr. Okafor leaned forward. "Better how?" Zix Ara's skin turned bright green with pride. "Watch." They walked to a dead, brown plant in the corner of the room. When Zix Ara touched it, the plant slowly turned green and grew new leaves. "The machine copies what Zix Ara does naturally," Marcus said. "It doesn't just make air that Kythera can breathe. It cleans pollution from human air too. One machine can clean the air for a whole city block." President Martinez stood up. "Are you saying this can help fix Earth's pollution problems?" "Not just help," Zix Ara said excitedly. "Fix completely. We have tested it in 12 cities. The air is now cleaner than it was 50 years ago." Admiral Chen smiled. "Show them the rest." Marcus pulled out more blueprints. "That's just the beginning. Kythera can do things with plants that humans never imagined. They can make plants grow in places where nothing should grow. They can clean dirty water just by touching it, and humans can build machines to do these things everywhere," Zix Ara added. "Things my people could only do one at a time, human engineering can do for millions of people." Elder Shaltes stood up slowly. The old Kythera's skin was bright gold, which meant deep happiness. "My young friend speaks truth. Working with humans has shown us new ways to use our gifts. It's not just science," said Dr. Chen Yuki, the language expert. "Kythera and human cultures are mixing in beautiful ways." She showed pictures on the main screen. In the first image, Kythera artists were working with human musicians. The Kithara created sculptures made of light, while the humans played instruments. The light sculptures danced to the music, creating art that neither species could make alone. Another picture showed a school where human and Kithara children learned together. The human children taught math and history, while the Kithara children taught biology and meditation. In Sao Paulo, a Kithara named Poles is working with human doctors, Dr. Okafor reported. Kithara can sense illness in living things just by touching them. Combined with human medical technology, we're curing diseases we couldn't cure before. The presentation went on for 2 hours. The room saw pictures of vertical farms where Kithara biology helped plants grow in cities. They saw water treatment plants where Kithara workers cleaned pollution that machines couldn't touch. They saw art galleries where human and Kithara artists created new forms of beauty. But the most amazing sight was the simplest one. It was a picture of a playground in New Delhi, where human and Kithara children played together. The Kithara children's skin shifted through every color of happiness as they played with their new friends. When the presentation ended, the room was quiet for a long moment. Finally, President Martinez spoke. "This is incredible work. But I have to ask, what do the hegemony observers think about all this?" One of the hegemony officials, a tall gray alien with 6 arms, stood up. "We have been watching your progress with interest," it said in a flat voice. The council expected different results. "What kind of results?" Admiral Chen asked. "Failure. Chaos. A request for hegemony assistance." The alien's face was hard to read. "Instead, we observe unprecedented cooperation and technological advancement." Elder Shaltes stepped forward. "Tell your council something for me." The hegemony observer nodded. "Tell them that the Kithara have found home. Not just shelter. Not just safety. Home. We will not be leaving Earth." The observer's face showed surprise. "The council assumed you would want to return to hegemony space eventually. Why would we want to go back to the people who threw us away?" Zixara asked, their skin turning red with anger. "Earth didn't just take us in. Earth made us part of the family." Marcus put his hand on Zixara's shoulder to calm them down. The young Kithara's skin slowly shifted back to green. "We're not just helping each other anymore," Marcus said. "We're building something new together. Something better than what either of our peoples had before." The hegemony observer took notes on a strange device. "This will be reported to the council." After the meeting, Admiral Chen walked with Elder Shaltes through the gardens outside the Science Center. The gardens were beautiful now, a mix of earth plants and Kithara biosculptures that glowed softly in the evening light. "Are you worried about the hegemony's reaction?" Chen asked. Shaltes's skin was calm blue. "I am old, Admiral. I have seen many things in my life. I have seen my people face extinction when our star died. I have seen the hegemony treat us like unwanted cargo." They stopped next to a fountain where human and Kithara children were playing together in the water. "But I have never seen anything like what happened here on Earth," Shaltes continued. "Your people didn't just save us. You welcomed us. You shared your world with us. You helped us become more than we were before." Chen smiled. "You helped us become more than we were too." "Yes," Shaltes agreed, watching a human girl teach a Kithara boy how to skip stones in the water. "I think that makes us family." High above in space, the hegemony ships continued their watch. But down on Earth, something was growing that the hegemony had never seen before. 2 different species working together not because they had to, but because they wanted to. And that was about to change everything. President Vex Tar of the Galactic Hegemony was not happy. He stood in his war room, staring at reports from Earth that made his 4 hands clench into fists. "This is impossible," he growled to his advisors. "Earth should have collapsed by now. 6 million refugees should have destroyed their economy, their cities, their will to stay independent." General Castell, his military commander, pointed to the holographic displays. "Instead, Earth is stronger than before. Their technology has advanced by decades in just 6 months. Their cities are cleaner, their people are healthier. And worst of all, what?" Vextar demanded. Other species in hegemony space are watching. The reports from Earth are spreading. Some of our member worlds are asking why they can't have the same cooperation Earth has with the Kithara. Vextar's golden eyes turned cold. Unacceptable. If other worlds think they can leave the hegemony for some human fantasy of cooperation, our entire government will fall apart. What are your orders, sir? Bring the fleet. All of it. We're going to show the galaxy what happens when primitives think they can embarrass the hegemony. On Earth, Admiral Sarah Chen was having the best day of her career. The latest reports from around the world showed incredible progress. Crime rates were down because humans and Kithara were working together to solve community problems. Scientific discoveries were happening every week as the two species shared knowledge. Even the weather was getting better thanks to the new air cleaning systems. Then her communication officer called out in alarm. "Admiral, long-range sensors are picking up massive movement in space." Sarah turned to the main screen. Her heart sank as she saw what was coming. 200 hegemony warships were approaching Earth. This wasn't the small group that had brought the refugees. This was a full invasion fleet. "Get me President Martinez immediately," Sarah ordered. "And find Elder Shaltes. We need to call an emergency meeting." 2 hours later, the United Nations building was more crowded than it had ever been. Every world leader was there, either in person or by video link. Elder Shaltes sat in the front row, with other Kithara leaders beside them. Their skin was dark red with fear and anger. Admiral Chen stood at the podium. "The hegemony fleet will arrive in 18 hours. President Vextar has sent a message demanding that we return all Kithara to their custody and accept hegemony rule over Earth." The room erupted in angry voices. President Martinez stood up to quiet everyone down. "What are our options?" he asked. "We can't fight them," General Hayes of the Earth Defense Force said grimly. 200 warships against our orbital defense platforms will be destroyed in minutes. "Maybe we should negotiate," suggested Chancellor Oberg. "Give them some of what they want, to protect what we can." Elder Shaltes stood up slowly. The ancient Kithara's skin was turning from red to gold, the color of determination. "May I speak?" Shaltes asked. President Martinez nodded. "Members of the Earth government," Shaltes began in perfect English. "6 months ago, the hegemony threw my people away like garbage. They told us we were worthless, that no one would want us, that we would be a burden wherever we went." The elder's voice grew stronger. "But Earth proved them wrong. You didn't just take us in. You made us your family. You helped us heal. You helped us become strong again." Shaltes turned to face the Kithara in the room. "My people, we have a choice. We can go back to the hegemony that abandoned us, or we can stand with the humans who welcomed us." A young Kithara in the back row stood up. It was Zixara, Marcus Torres's research partner. "Elder, I choose Earth. This is my home now." One by one, every Kithara in the room stood up. Their skin turned bright gold as they made their choice. "We all choose Earth," Shaltes announced. "We stand with our human family." Admiral Chen felt pride swell in her chest, but also fear. "I'm honored by your loyalty. But we still have the problem of 200 warships." "Actually," said a new voice from the back of the room, "we might have a solution for that." Everyone turned to look. It was Dr. Yuki Chen, the language specialist, and with her was Marcus Torres and Zixara. "Tell them," Dr. Chen said to Marcus. Marcus looked nervous but determined. "For the past month, Zixara and I have been working on something new. We've been connecting Kithara biological networks with Earth's defense systems." "What does that mean?" President Martinez asked. Zixara stepped forward. "Kithara can connect our minds to living things, plants, animals, even the biological components in some machines. We've been linking ourselves to Earth's ecosystem. Every forest, every ocean, every farm where humans and Kithara work together," Marcus continued. "We've created a planet-wide biological network. When the hegemony attacks, they won't just be fighting our ships and weapons, they'll be fighting the entire planet." General Hayes frowned. "That sounds impossible. 6 months ago, cleaning pollution with living crystals sounded impossible too," Admiral Chen pointed out. What exactly can this network do? Zixara's skin turned bright green with excitement. Show them. Marcus. Marcus activated a device on his wrist. Suddenly, every plant in the UN building began to glow softly. The air became fresher and more energizing. People in the room felt more alert and strong. This is just a tiny demonstration, Marcus explained. The full network can create energy shields around cities, generate electromagnetic pulses to disable enemy ships, and even manipulate weather patterns to protect important areas. But most importantly, Zixara added, it's completely biological. The hegemony's weapons are designed to fight metal ships and energy shields. They've never had to fight an entire living planet before. Elder Shaltes smiled. In Cathara philosophy, we believe that life is always stronger than death. Growth is always stronger than destruction. And cooperation is always stronger than conquest. Time to test that philosophy, Admiral Chen said. 12 hours later, the hegemony fleet arrived. President Vex's Tar's flagship was enormous, a mile-long vessel bristling with weapons that could destroy cities. Admiral Chen stood on her defense platform, but she wasn't alone. Elder Shaltes was with her, along with Marcus and Zixara. Around the world, thousands of humans and Cathara were linked into the biological network, ready to defend their home. Vex Tar's face appeared on the communication screen. Admiral Chen, this is your final warning. Surrender the stolen Cathara and accept hegemony authority, or we will take them by force. President Vex Tar, Admiral Chen replied calmly. The Cathara aren't stolen property. They're our family, and no one threatens our family. Vex Tar's expression turned ugly. So be it. All ships, open fire. The hegemony fleet unleashed a devastating barrage. Energy weapons that could melt mountains fired at Earth's orbital defenses. But as the deadly beams approached the planet, something impossible happened. The space around Earth began to glow green. The biological network had created shields made of living energy that absorbed the hegemony weapons like a sponge absorbing water. Impossible, Vex Tar shouted. What kind of technology is this? It's not technology, Elder Shaltes said, appearing on Vex Tar's communication screen. It's life, something you never understood. On the planet's surface, forests glowed with power. Oceans pulsed with energy. Cities surrounded by Cathara biogardens became fortresses of living light. The hegemony's most powerful weapons couldn't even scratch them. Then Earth began to fight back. Pulses of biological energy shot out from the planet, disabling hegemony ships without destroying them. Electromagnetic waves generated by the network scrambled enemy communications. Some ships found their air recycling systems mysteriously stopping, forcing them to retreat. But the most shocking thing happened when smaller hegemony vessels tried to land on Earth's surface. The planet itself seemed to reject them. Plants grabbed landing ships with sudden vines. The ground became soft and muddy under enemy forces, trapping their vehicles. Weather patterns shifted to create storms that forced attackers to retreat. In the space battle, Admiral Chen watched in amazement as Earth's defense forces, boosted by the biological network, outfought ships that should have been impossible to defeat. Admiral, Lieutenant Rodriguez called out. We're getting surrender signals from 17 hegemony ships. What? They're surrendering to us? Yes, ma'am. And Admiral, they're asking for asylum. Admiral Chen stared at the displays. Asylum? Elder Shaltes smiled. It seems we're not the only ones who prefer Earth's way of doing things to the hegemonies. As the battle continued, more and more hegemony ships stopped fighting. Their crews had seen something they'd never imagined. A world where different species worked together as equals, where life was valued over conquest, where cooperation created strength instead of weakness. President Vex Tar watched his fleet fall apart around him. Half his ships had stopped fighting, and the other half couldn't make a dent in Earth's impossible defenses. For the first time in his long life, the president of the Galactic Hegemony was forced to consider an unthinkable possibility. Maybe the humans were right. President Vex Tar's flagship hung dead in space. Half his fleet had surrendered to Earth, and the other half was retreating as fast as they could travel. The most powerful military force in the galaxy had been defeated by a planet that barely had space travel 6 months ago. Admiral Sarah Chen stood in the communication room of her defense station, looking at the broken hegemony leader on her screen. Vextar's forearms hung limp at his sides, and his golden eyes had lost their arrogant glow. "This is impossible," Vextar whispered. "We had 200 warships. How did you want to know our secret?" Admiral Chen asked quietly. "We didn't fight you alone. We had help." "What help?" "Earth has no allies." Elder Shaltes stepped into view of the camera. The old Cathara's skin was glowing bright gold, with pride and determination. "We are their allies," Shaltes said simply. "When you threw us away, Earth picked us up. When you called us worthless, Earth showed us we were valuable. When you tried to use us as weapons against them, we chose to stand with them instead." Vextar stared at the elder. "You're just refugees. Primitives. You have no military power." "You're right," Shaltes agreed. "We have no weapons of war. But we have something you never learned to use." "What?" "Life itself." Marcus Torres and Zix Ara appeared on the screen together. The human engineer and the young Cathara scientist stood side by side, their hands clasped in friendship. "President Vextar," Marcus said, "for thousands of years, the hegemony has ruled through fear and force. You make other species obey by threatening to destroy them. But destruction is not strength," Zix Ara added, their skin bright green with conviction. "Creation is strength. Growth is strength. Cooperation is strength. What you saw today wasn't a military victory," Admiral Chen continued. "It was life defeating death, hope defeating fear, and family defeating tyranny." President Vextar was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was different, smaller, more uncertain. "What happens now?" he asked. "That's up to you," Admiral Chen said. "Your surrendered ships are being treated well. The crews who asked for asylum are safe on Earth, and they're already working with our people to build a better future." "You could go back to hegemony space," Elder Shaltes suggested. "Keep trying to rule through fear. But I think you've seen that's not working anymore." "Or," Marcus said, "you could stay here and learn a different way." "Stay here?" Vextar looked shocked. "You would let me stay after I tried to destroy you?" "That's what families do," Admiral Chen said simply. "We forgive. We help each other grow. We build something better together." 3 months later, the Great Hall of the United Nations had been expanded to hold representatives from 47 different species. The former hegemony was falling apart as world after world declared independence and asked to join the new galactic alliance that Earth and the Cathara had started. Elder Shaltes, now bearing the title Mother of the Alliance, stood at the podium to give the opening speech. Their ancient skin glowed with every color of happiness as they looked out at the gathered representatives. "Friends, family, fellow travelers among the stars," Shaltes began. "1 year ago, the old hegemony tried to punish Earth by giving them 6 million unwanted refugees." Laughter rippled through the hall. In the front row, Admiral Chen smiled as she remembered how impossible that task had seemed. "They thought they were giving Earth a burden," Shaltes continued. "Instead, they gave Earth a gift. They gave us each other." The elder gestured to a section where humans and Cathara sat together, along with representatives from dozens of other species who had come to Earth, seeking the same cooperation they had heard about. "Today, we sign the Terran Accords. Not a treaty of conquest, not a document of surrender, but a promise between equals. A promise that we will stand together, learn together, grow together, and build a galaxy where no one is thrown away as worthless." President Martinez stood up next. As Earth's elected representative to the Alliance, he had the honor of speaking for his home world. "The hegemony believed that strength comes from making others afraid of you," Martinez said. "But we've learned something different. Real strength comes from helping others become the best they can be." He looked directly at the cameras that were broadcasting this moment across the galaxy. "To every world watching this, to every person who has been told they don't matter, to every species that has been pushed aside as worthless, you have a home here. You have family here. You have a future here." The signing ceremony took 6 hours as representative after representative added their names to the accords. Humans signed next to Cathara. Former hegemony soldiers signed next to the rebels they used to fight. Even a few reformed hegemony officials, including President Vextar, added their signatures to the document. When it was over, Admiral Chen found herself standing in the gardens outside the UN building with Elder Shaltes and Marcus Torres. Zix Era was there too, now serving as the Alliance's first director of interspecies science. "Can you believe it's been a year?" Marcus asked, watching human and alien children play together in the bioluminescent gardens. "It feels like yesterday and forever at the same time," Admiral Chen said. "Sometimes I still can't believe we pulled it off. We didn't pull it off alone," Zix Ara pointed out, their skin shifting to warm gold. "That was the whole point," Elder Shaltes laughed, a sound like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "I keep thinking about President Vextar's face when he realized his punishment had become our salvation." "Speaking of Vextar, how is he adjusting to his new job?" Admiral Chen asked. "Better than expected," Zix Ara replied. "Teaching former hegemony soldiers how to build instead of destroy is hard work, but he seems to like the challenge." They stood in comfortable silence, watching the sunset paint the sky in brilliant colors. The gardens around them glowed softly with Cathara biolights, while human engineering ensured the perfect temperature and air quality for dozens of different species. "Elder," Admiral Chen said quietly, "do you ever miss your old world?" Shaltes considered the question carefully. "I miss the memories," they said finally. "I miss the friends who didn't survive the evacuation. I miss the songs we used to sing under our old sun." The elder's skin shifted to gentle blue, then back to gold. "But I don't miss the life we had there. We were isolated, alone among the stars. We thought we were complete, but we were only part of what we could be." "And now?" Marcus asked. "Now we're part of something bigger. Something better. Something that couldn't exist without both human ambition and Cathara harmony, human determination and Cathara patience, human dreams and Cathara wisdom." Admiral Chen smiled. "The hegemony wanted to break us by making us take care of you. Instead, taking care of each other made us all stronger," Shaltes agreed. As the first stars appeared in the darkening sky, ships from a dozen different worlds could be seen coming and going from Earth's orbital stations. Each one carried families looking for new homes, scientists eager to share discoveries, artists ready to create new forms of beauty, and dreamers hoping to build a better future. "What's next?" Zix Ara asked. "Tomorrow? The Andromedan refugees are arriving," Admiral Chen said. 50,000 of them this time. "Good thing we're getting practice at this," Marcus laughed. "After that, there's the terraforming project on Kepler 442b. Shaltes added. 3 species working together to build a new world from scratch. "And next month, the first interspecies university opens on Luna," Admiral Chen continued. "Students from 60 different worlds learning together." They talked about the future as the gardens filled with the soft music of evening celebrations. Humans and Cathara and dozens of other species gathered to share food, stories, and dreams under the stars. "You know what the most amazing part is?" Marcus said as they watched a group of children from 5 different species teaching each other their traditional games. "What?" Admiral Chen asked. "A year ago, the hegemony thought they were giving us the worst punishment they could imagine. 6 million refugees we couldn't possibly handle. And instead, they gave us 6 million teachers, artists, scientists, friends, and family members." Zix Ara finished, their skin glowing bright green with joy. Elder Shaltes looked up at the stars, where the lights of hundreds of Alliance ships could be seen traveling between worlds in peace. "In my language," Shaltes said softly, "we have another word. Kaithis Ara. It means, the beautiful accident that changes everything. Is that what we are?" Admiral Chen asked. "No," Shaltes replied with a smile that made their skin shimmer like starlight. "We are what grew from the beautiful accident. We are what happens when different peoples choose to become one family. We are what the galaxy becomes when love is stronger than fear." High above them, the stars shone down on a world that had proven something important. Sometimes the greatest gifts come disguised as the worst punishments, and sometimes the most beautiful futures grow from the most impossible challenges. The hegemony had tried to destroy Earth by giving them 6 million refugees. Instead, they had given the galaxy hope, and hope, as it turned out, was the most powerful force in the universe.